Aloha, everyone. It is a little after 6:33, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Gonna ask Mr. Endo to open us up in prayer.
Can we all rise? Good evening, everyone. Good to see some familiar faces. Actually, seeing faces. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for your blessings that you continue to pour out in Waianae. Lord, continue to help us, direct us, that we will make Waianae bring glory to you in your name, and that the people of Waianae will be proud. I thank you for the many students that are graduating with pride and honor. May you bless them and guide them in their future, and help us as adults and this board to make decisions that are wise, that are portal, that will make Waianae great. Bless our meeting. For pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Mahalo, Mr. Endo. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and start right off with Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening. I'm Captain Ashima from the Waianae Fire Station. So the statistics for April 2023 for fires, there was 1 structure fire, 1 wildland brush fire, 3 nuisance fires, 0 cooking fires, and 2 activated alarms with no fire. So nuisance fire includes rubbish fires outside a structure or a vehicle. As far as emergencies, there was 166 medical emergencies, 0 vehicle collisions with pedestrians, 5 motor vehicle crash collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 2 ocean rescues, and 0 hazardous material incidents. And the fire safety tip for the month is about home sprinklers. So fire sprinklers are the first line of defense against fires, often extinguishing the fire before the fire department arrives. Fire is fast. A fire can become deadly in less than 2 minutes. Synthetic materials burn quickly and produce deadly poisonous toxins. Those at the highest risk during a home fire are small children, older adults, people with disabilities, and pets. Fire sprinklers protect your home and family, activating automatically and immediately to the control of the fire so everyone can escape. The best protection from fire is having working smoke alarms, fire sprinklers, and a fire escape plan that you practice. Visit homefiresprinkler.org to learn more. Information also related to fire safety can be available at fire.honolulu.gov. Any questions?
Mahalo. We'll go ahead and take questions from the board and community. Kaukaohu, go ahead.
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, Captain Ishima. My question was for the hazardous material. What kind of hazardous material fire was it, and where was it at? If you could elaborate on that, if possible. Mahalo.
Yeah, actually, for the past month of April, there was no hazardous material incidents, yeah. Or fires, no hazardous material fires, yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry, my misunderstanding.
Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any. So, Mahalo, Captain, well, thank you for the report and see you next month.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Aloha. Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, members of the community. Corporal Pig with the Honolulu Police Department, District 8 Community Precinct. I have your crime stats for April. We had 28 motor vehicle thefts, 10 in our area, 31 burglaries, 17 in our area, 125 thefts, 38 in our area, 5 unauthorized entries into a motor vehicle. I'm sorry, 18 unauthorized entries into motor vehicle, 5 in our area. Total of 276 citations were issued. There was 8,381 calls for service, and 2,416 in our area. That's all I have. I'm open for any comments, questions, or concerns.
Mahalo, any questions for HPD? Coco, oh, your hand was up from the last time?
Oh, yeah. I get one, Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Corporate Pagan, good to see you again, brother. So I got calls from some concerned community members, a handful of concerned community members. This last weekend, there was I guess it was a big party down at Maili Park, Maili, Beach Park, and where it had all the tow trucks and whatnot. But then I got some calls because I guess later on that night was Saturday night that they had shut down the road, and they did those burnouts and donuts, and you can see it now, and I was just wondering if there was any calls for that, because to the concerned community members that called me, they said that those guys was doing it, and everybody was like, oh, like really getting into it, and they shut down the traffic, and yeah, I just was wondering about that, and hopefully when Donna Puna comes on, I can ask her some questions about that. But you got anything about that, Corporal?
I appreciate the question. I didn't hear about it. Normally when, if they did get a whole bunch of calls or there's a concern brought to our attention, they would let us know. Sergeant Moroka's on. I don't know, Sergeant, did you get any calls about that at all?
Because you can obviously, if you're passing, you can see it wasn't there Friday, then it was there Saturday night after, and so yeah, it's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to look up,
I apologize. Oh, okay.
Yes. So I was trying to look up the calls for service, but I didn't hear anything offhand about that being a big issue that was called in that night.
Yeah, I
So-
guess the reason why, because people they're I guess because of social media and whatnot, they it's like they condone those things. I mean, not condone, but it's like they agree with with those burnouts and whatnot. But you obviously can see that if you pass by a sergeant or even corporal.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, I've been actually reassigned for the last week. So I didn't look into that. But yeah, the thing is, we do ask the community that kind of stuff happens. By all means, please call 911. Give us a chance to go down there and at least show the blue lights, and then know that there is a concern. Sadly, when the community sees that kind of stuff and they call you guys or they post stuff instead of letting us know and letting us get into it, we find out sadly after it's been too late. Somebody gets into an accident, or somebody gets hurt and stuff. So we do ask the community to please give us a call so we can get out there and address the issue while it's happening and try to shut it down.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for HPD? Mr. Endo?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if anybody was gonna say anything about the Honolulu, but I would like to say my mahalo to the HPD and those who have put together the Honolulu at Miley. I'm hearing good reports of how quickly they're finding places for the homeless, especially families, and I really appreciate what this project is doing for the people of not just Waianae, but I heard that there's families from other places that came and speedily got placed in a home. So thank you for this project, HPD.
Thank you. I wish we could take more credit. As of right now, HPD is doing more of the security portion. Department of Customer Service is actually heading that program, and we've actually taken a backseat to other than assisting with the security. So thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Mahalo. Austin has a question, please.
Hello, testing 1, 2. Okay. This is more of a question, but making awareness to our first responders, HPD. Hello, Sergeant Fumi and Corporal Pagan. And thank you for all you folks' support on the west side, because things are on the west side that you folks encounter for our law enforcement first responders. You folks are unaware of all the entities that's in our residential area and all that. So with that said alone, our Senator Mighty Shima Bukra introduced a resolution, SR 30. In the beginning phase of this, it only cited the urging the city, but we had amended this thing at the state capitol, and it was amended and adopted. Now it's SR 30 SD1, urging the state and city, county of Honolulu to recognize and address the inequitable locations of mental health facilities, clean and sober homes, homeless shelters, and other supportive living homes across the island of Oahu, more so on the west side that we are encountered with of an abundance of throughout our residential area on the west side. And more so, it's written in here, folks need to get familiar with, because section 4 on the second page, lack of Honolulu Police Department and Department of Planning and Permitting of the city and county of Honolulu resources of the short manfall, but the increase of this type of business operation, whether it's been operated by nonprofit groups and all that. I just make an awareness and a shout out to our law enforcement, our first responders, because when you folks out there protecting us 24/7, our law enforcement is not made aware by the state or the city of all the locations of this business operation. It could be from a nonprofit, so it stays off the radar, even off the radar of the Department of Health. So I just make an awareness on this. Appreciate it. Thank you for your folks' time. Aloha.
Okay, Johnny May.
Chair. Question I have about the new gun law. So those that have issued a gun, they have to show it on their body? Is that how it is? And, or is there like, a screening when you go into, I know there's a sign for the businesses to utilize if they choose to, guns allowed or not allowed. So how is this new gun law it's gonna roll out?
My understanding with the gun law is it's a concealed carry, which means that it shouldn't be visible. However, if they walk into an establishment that does not allow it and they have one, I'm not sure what the penalty is, if it's an arrestable offense, so they can just be asked to leave and they have to leave because it is private property. And they don't have a right to carry a gun on private property. So sadly, I think it's going to be up to the person to make it known that, well, he has one and he has to go get rid of it or lock it up somewhere. The sad thing about that is, we're hoping it doesn't get to the point where, people are walking out of a restaurant because they can't carry their gun and they're putting their gun in their car, and then people are breaking into cars and stealing guns. So we hope that the education and the license processing, they're letting people know that, they might want to be aware of where they're going and what the limits and laws are in regards to where they're going, so that they don't take a gun and leave it unsecured somewhere because they're not allowed to take it into the establishment.
I feel more unsafe now that the law is, now we have a law in Hawaii. I feel more unsafe now. Thank you.
Any other questions for HPD before we move on? Go ahead, Colonel Brunet.
Hey, good evening, Madam Chairman Poe. Hey, I don't have a question for the HPD. I just want to be honest and kind of chime in now. I'll send you the notes later, but we're out in the middle of a range and we're about to start shooting, so I might not be able to brief later. We're doing a blank battalion training event. So I was just going to introduce my replacement for next month, if that's okay, and then I can send the notes and see if there are any questions. I'm sorry to interrupt, or I can just send the notes or whatever. But I just wanted to make sure you knew we were trying to attend, but it's going to get dark. We're going to shoot. It's going to be kind of loud, ma'am.
I was wondering with the face paint.
Yeah.
Okay, really quick. If there are
Yep.
no other questions for HPD board, is it okay if we jump to Army's introduction?
Very okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
Wahilani,
Thank you,
okay.
HPD. Thank you, Colonel Pagan and
Yeah,
Sergeant Fumi.
thanks, Connor Pagan.
Okay, go ahead, Colonel Brunet.
Yes, ma'am. Just a couple announcements, same as before, but most importantly, I want to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Pat Yoon. He is taking command of the Gimlet Battalion here on 12 May and will be my replacement. I'll stay here in Schofield Barracks and move up to division. And really, I just wanted to introduce him real quick as he will take over for me and then liaise with the community. For the announcements, Madam Chairwoman, more of the same. So we've got a May job fair that's coming. U.S. Army Garrison is going to host that on 16 May at the Airport Hotel on Nimitz Highway. It's from 8:30 to 2:30, and I can send the details there. We also have the May training advisory that's been published on 1 May. If you want to be added to that distro list, please contact me or the number 808-656-3487. I can get you on that list. For Army training in Hawaii during this month, most of it's going to be out at East Range by Wahiawa. So there's some helicopter training that's 11 to 18 May, some blank fire training throughout the month, and then we've got some aerosol training, which is helicopters from 15 to 19. And then probably what most folks are interested in is when we shoot artillery. That's going to be at Schofield Barracks. That's 1 to 4, 8 to 10, and 19 to 20 May. I'll send all this, ma'am. I just wanted to announce that because I know that's always of interest to the community when we're shooting our larger munitions or caliber. And then just real quick, there's two events coming up for the public's interest. The first is there's a free joint military band concert that'll be held on the lawn of Fort DeRussy on 3 June at 4 p.m. That's free. You can bring lawn chairs, blankets, and the Ahana enjoy, and that's some late afternoon entertainment. And then the second is the Army's gearing up for the big 4th of July weekend and open house at Schofield Barracks. That event's going to be held on 1 July, which is a Saturday. It's open to the public, and we encourage everyone to come and visit for the day and enjoy the variety of venues. Besides that, I'll always emphasize, even for my last one here and handing it on to Pat, or handing over to Pat, we're always looking for volunteer opportunities. We do have a couple in the Waianae community, but again, we have 700 plus soldiers that would love to volunteer in the community. And then just one more time, I'll just show Pat. He has been stationed in Schofield before, so he's no stranger to the community. He's excited to be here. And I'll just pause there for any questions or comments. Thanks.
Mahalo, Colonel Brunet. We'll miss you. Mahalo for attending our board and representing and reporting out. Any questions for Colonel Brunet? If not, we thank you and have a good, training, I guess. And see Pat next month.
Okay. Hey, thanks so much. Sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to do that, but it's just going to be louder.
Yes,
Thanks
it did,
again.
Mikey.
Have-
Sorry, Colonel Brunet. One question. Go ahead, Mikey.
I wonder when he is going to deoccupy Ko Hawaii, Pa'aina, the Kingdom of Hawaii, the nation of Hawaii, when you guys going to get out of here and clean up you guys' mess that you guys bombing a mountain over there in Schofield. He's got to clean up his mess and you guys got to get out of here already. Aloha.
Welcome, Pat. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thanks.
Okay, so this part of our agenda, I would have actually put it first, but I wanted to give our emergency HPD and HFD the chance to report so they can get back out if they needed to. But I want to take this time to recognize someone who was very instrumental to our community in advocating for education, for cultural expertise and advocacy, and just so much over the years from the 70s. I'm gonna let Tiana go ahead and present something to Fred Cachola's family. I don't know how many of you are familiar with him, with his name, but he's actually from Kohala on the Big Island. And he came here after he got his education, his master's, his master's in education from Iowa. And he came out to our community and taught at Nanaika Pono Elementary, right? And he did so much for our community. He helped to take a lot of the kupuna stories about our moku and share them with our children, with the families, and taught our families how to love our community. And I wanted to take this time to recognize him and the family because looking at where we are right now, all the concerns we bring up at the neighborhood board, we need that again. We need that kind of aloha and love for our community, where not just those of us who come here and trying to find solutions do this, but also those who may be practicing some of these behaviors begin to change the way they treat our community and each other. Okay, so Tiana, go ahead. Julie, thank you for being here tonight.
Aloha. Sorry, I don't have hands to move it, but thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. Can everybody hear me? Okay. So I am honored to actually present this on behalf of Representative Jean Ward, who had the privilege to know Fred Cachola personally in his time in the legislature. And so he wanted to present a memoriam in your father's honor. And I thank you so much for meeting me at such short notice. And I've learned so much from that encounter. And I just got like a snippet of who he was and what he meant to so many, and the accomplishments he's had in his lifetime. So I just want to read what the memoriam says and who signed it. So the Hawaii State Legislature hereby presents this certificate to Fred Keakaokalani Cachola in memoriam, whereas Fred Cachola was a proud Kamehameha Schools graduate of the class of 1953 Pua Mai Ole. And whereas Fred Cachola, following graduation, enlisted in the U.S. Army during the Korean War and began his teaching degree. And whereas Fred Cachola, upon returning home, began his teaching career at Waianae Intermediate. And whereas Fred Cachola then served as the vice principal and later principal of Nanaikapono Elementary, where he initiated faculty programs in which they learned about Nanakuli Hawaiian culture and learning styles of Native Hawaiian keiki. And whereas Fred Cachola was always eager to take on special projects, such as in 1971 when he began working at Kamehameha Schools as the first director of extension education, and whereas Fred Cachola and his colleagues inspired and innovated, making Hawaiian culture integral to many programs we see today. This included founding Keali'i Pauahi's legacy for community learners of all ages across the Pai'aina, initiating Kamehameha School scholarships for non-Kamehameha School students, organizing canoe paddling as a high school sport, and being involved in various nonprofit organizations and community groups. And whereas Fred Cachola was particularly known for his work in promoting education and economic development for Native Hawaiians, providing educational opportunities and support to young Hawaiians, as well as being involved in economic development initiatives that aim to create jobs and promote sustainable growth in Hawaii. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Fred Cachola was as well-respected and influential figure in Hawaii, and his tireless work on behalf of the Hawaiian people has left a lasting impact on the state and its communities. And be it resolved by the 32nd Legislature of the state of Hawaii that this body recognizes Fred Cachola for his many accomplishments and sends its deepest sympathies to all who knew him. So we have Representative Jean Ward, Speaker of the House Scott Saiki, Senator Mike Gabbard, President of the Senate Ronald Kouchi, Representative David Alcos, Representative Terez Amato, Senator Henry Aquino, Senator Brenton Awa, Senator Stanley Chang, Representative Corey Chun, Senator Lynn DeCoit, Senator Donovan Dela Cruz, Senator Brandon Elefante, Senator Kurt Favela, Representative Sonny Ganadin, Representative Diamond Garcia, Representative Natalia Hussey-Burdick, Senator Lorraine Inouye, Representative Kirsten Kahaloa, Representative Jean Capella, Senator Jarrett Keoho. I don't want to say it wrong, but the signature is crossed over it.
Keoho Kalole.
Okay, thank you. Senator Michelle Kadani, Representative Darius Keela, Senator Donna McCardle Kim, Representative Lisa Kitagawa, Representative Sam Kong, Representative Trish LaChica, Senator Chris Lee, Representative Nicole Lowen, Representative Lisa Martin, Representative Rose Martinez, Representative Lauren Matsumoto, Representative Dee Morikawa, Senator Sharon Moriwaki, Representative Nadine Nakamura, Representative Amy Peruso, Representative Elijah Perrick, Senator Herbert Tim Richard III, Senator Joy Buenaventura, Senator Miley Shimabukuro, Representative Adrian Tam, Representative David Tarnas, Senator Glenn Wakai, Representative Justin Woodson, and House Chief Clerk Brian Takeshita, and Senate Chief Clerk Carol Taniguchi. So if Julie Ann Cachola could receive this, thank you so much.
I also want to recognize Kehao Abad is online. She wasn't able to make it out here in person, but she's online. Yeah.
Thank you, Cal, for attending. We appreciate you guys and all the work that your family has done.
This is amazing.
We had to shorten this, so there's a lot more that was on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Aloha,
Julie.
Kehao.
Thank you,
Good to see
Kehao.
you, Kehao.
So he was my dad's 6th grade teacher. Some of you know my dad, he's come, but yeah. Go ahead. Julie.
Short story. We're all into community here, right? But there was this lady who found out that my father had passed away, and she called me up and she was really sad, and she said, "You don't understand. He really changed my life, and he really, he really." She wanted to leave YNI when she was young, and all that she could think about was leaving YNI. And she had him as a teacher, and he used to take the kids out every Saturday to go field trips, to go, to learn their community. And she said that, that my father made her fall in love with her community again. And I thought, what an important metric, right? As community leaders, as people committed to community, what if we all, affected people like that made them fall in love with their community again? And I just thought I'd share with you that. I thought that was a beautiful metric.
Thanks, Julie. Thank you, Kehao. Did your sister go fly home away? Leilani?
Hi, Julie. Hi, Kehao. Love you guys.
Yeah. All right, thank you everyone for being patient through that. Okay, we're going to go right into residents and community concerns. So if you have any, raise your hand online, or if you have any, please stand in line over here. Hey, Johnny May, go ahead.
I just wanted to share it's about the Keiki Spring Fest they had this past Saturday. It's really grew since I first went. The turnout was good. Senator, the only thing I think missing from that Spring Fest was dental care and eyeglasses. And also they could remove the their sign in Nanakuli so they can use again for next year. That's all. Thank you, Shar.
Mahalo, Johnny May. Okay, I'm going to go to in-person over here. I don't see any other hands, so go ahead. Just introduce yourselves. You know the drill.
Aloha, Kalei. You folks know we've been the voice for our community for many years in our kupunas. Well, I'm here to be an extended voice. Today on the floor, state capitol on the floor, Senate Bill number 1378 was very, very alarming. There was a 48-month study, and that 48-month study shows there's 221 unlicensed care homes. 221 unlicensed care homes. John Mizuno had mentioned is related to unlicensed care homes. This is so sad because the legislatures find that the Department of Health has conducted an investigation on 221 unlicensed care home over the past 48 months and has closed 11 homes with assessment of $2,489,800 administrative penalty. Investigation on 89 unlicensed care home still underwriting or pending. At the meanwhile, unlicensed care home continue to operate and propose a danger to the community and and to our older. Even this is also very concerning, because if this is unlicensed care homes with a mental issue, health issue, or kupuna care, unlicensed, they're not qualified, they don't have nurses on hand in the houses. This is not a joke. This is what's been going on in our community. You can follow it on and look at it, double search for it. So the big concern about this operation continue poses a danger to the community. It's unlicensed care operating. Other people continue to refer or transfer the patients to other care homes, unlicensed care home, unknown to the patients, or unlicensed again, once again, participating within this, in many communities, at putting other and their own patients. It could be from the health department or mental health department, not sure, putting those patients in danger too, by transferring them to other unlicensed homes, non-qualification. How can our lawmakers allow such things like this to happen? At the same time, putting our community in danger. We don't know what's our neighbors. Not only our communities, putting our first responders in danger. When they do respond, just like the Molokai one, they didn't know he had a mental health issue, but that he was being cared for by an unlicensed home.
Can
So the concern about it, when are we going to hold our legislatures, our own lawmakers, including nonprofit organizations, caregivers, responsible? When are we going to put a stop, allowing them to line up their own pockets? You compromising, this type of operation is compromising the safety of our children, our kupunas, and the safety of our first responders. HPD do not know what they're against.
Mahalo.
Hello, everyone. On the same note, again, I'm going to repeat it again, reiterating SR 30 that was introduced. This speaks about inequity that's on the west side more than other areas. And this thing was supposed to be put together to involve the Department of Health. Because all the, how would I say, clean and sober homes, those who have been violated, went to prisons, court systems, all those under the probation and paroling authority, is coming through the doors. Some of them is bypassing the Department of Health, entering nonprofit organizations that's on the west side as well, and throughout areas like Waipahu and so on. But more so, not in Kahala and Hawaii Kai. But we're looking at the areas on the west side, because this proximity of this locations of this clean and sober homes, mental health facilities is closely to our children's schools and our residential homes and the recreational for our children areas. So this resolution speaks about SR 30 with the involvement and that the Partners in Care is requested to consult with the stakeholders on this issue as such. And the stakeholders on this, they be further resolved that the certified copy of this resolution be transmitted to the Director of Health, Director of Human Services, Director of Public Safety, Chief Justice of Hawaii Supreme Court, Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu, Chairperson of Honolulu City Council, Chief of Honolulu Police Department, Director of the City, County of Honolulu Department of Planning and Permitting, Prosecuting Attorney, City and County of Honolulu, Executive Secretary of the Neighborhood Commission, Office of the City and County of Honolulu, Chairs of the Waianae Neighborhood Board, Chairperson of the Nanakuli Neighborhood Board, and Executive Director of Partners in Care Oahu. I took the liberty and spoke to the Executive Director of Partners in Care today. Her name is Laura E. Thielen. When I mentioned the SR 30 that I prompted an email to her, she told me, Austin, I was not made aware of this, or was it brought forward to me for discussion? So the left hand is not telling the right hand what's going on here. And we already impacted our area. We see it on our coastline. And for these facilities as well, that's in our residential area, they can't stay in there, right? So they're branching off onto our coastline as well. So I'll be making a request to our governor's rep to see if our governor is going to participate and take this SR 30 in consideration and implement this, to exercise it. Because Lieutenant Governor, what's her name? Sylvia Luke. She is committed to creating a lot of the preschools and expanding throughout this island. And with that said itself, if she does this, she's trying to protect the interests of the children, Sylvia Luke. And we need to reach out to her as well to protect the children's schools and recreational areas for our school children. When we have this, I want to say, entities of business operations as such, should be kept at a distance away. Because prior last year, there was an introduction of another bill, and apparently it was shut down because of the HUD. I think it was the land use, anyway, something about act, the federal act. So we need to get up to the federal level itself, and hopefully we can get Congresswoman Jill Tokuda on board on this, to look into this act. And I'll rephrase this again, because the numbers on this act itself, to look at the safety of the children. That's what we're looking at, the safety of the schools, recreational, and the elderly kupunas in the residential area for the safety itself is being compromised. So that's all. Thank you.
Mahalo. Okay, I have two questions online. One go to Laura and then to Johnny May. Laura, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Thielen, and I am the Executive Director of Partners in Care. And I just wanted to let you know that I was here. And like Austin said, today was the first day we've been notified that we were listed in this Senate resolution. I invite the senator and anyone else to contact us directly. Unfortunately, within this resolution, there are statements that we have nothing to do with any locations. We don't create locations for folks who are experiencing homelessness. Our agency supports those programs, and that's our involvement with them. We also host the database, which has information from all the homeless programs. Some of the things that we do that we would welcome and share with the Waianae community is within the next couple of weeks, we will have our up-to-date point in time count, which covers, we counted all the individuals that we could find during a one-day period back in January. And we collected a lot of information, and we will be sharing that with the entire community. And you're welcome to ask any questions about that. And please include us in anything. We're happy to be involved. But unfortunately, we don't have any say with any care homes or any of those facilities, other than we are just a supportive program that works with all homeless programs. So just wanted to put that out there, and thank you for hearing me out.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're on here this evening. Do you have anyone or your staff for you who might be able to attend our Housing and Homelessness Committee meeting next week. I think that would be an appropriate time to have a further discussion. I can
Yeah,
send
we're
you
act-
an email.
Yeah, we're really open to that. We're actually working right now with the Kailua Neighborhood Board, and we're working with lots of different groups, trying to pull resources together. I see that KWO is on this call, and we're very happy to be partners with them and anyone else.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Johnny May, and then we'll come to on-site.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to have Austin maybe expand his list to the payers such as Medicare, Medicaid, HMSA, Kaiser. They're the one they're paying for the services. I feel sorry for the patients, but sometimes these are patients that their family members kind of like wash their hands and not engage. And unfortunately, they not necessarily get the best treatment. But he also need to go to the payers so they are made aware of how federal dollars and state dollars are being used. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo. Okay, go ahead, step up to the mic. State your name for the record.
I am Shayna Caparose Dolman. I lived here, raised here, but my concern is Senate Bill 1378. If they can do the restaurants with red, white, and blue, they should do all the care homes with the same tag on their windows. Because I've been through several care homes that I had grandparents in there just recently, and their demand was pay us first and we'll take care of her later. And that's not right. To me, they should tag the windows of the homes that do caring for kapuna or children, even for schools. Why we all have to suffer later, 10 years from now? Do it now if you're doing the restaurants the same way. Thank you.
Mahalo. Okay, Mr. Endo, and then we'll go to Austin.
I just wanted to let the people know who had concerns about Mauna Lai Beach Park, and especially this side of the park where there's the big group. We have so you know there are a lot of complaints about the people in that area. Just the health hazard, the violence, people who live in that area getting confronted by some of the mentally disturbed people on the beach. It made the news, and it got to the park manager. So the park manager asked us for our input as well. So I just wanted to share what I shared with him. One of the time bombs that he needs to look at is the health hazard. We forget what happened at KL, the far side KL Beach Park, right? When the homeless stayed too long. There's a very bad health hazard. They have to kick everybody off. Nobody watching that closely. But with the rains, where is all this human waste and other waste that they're dumping on the campsite? Where is it spreading to? Yeah, it's going to be a time bomb if we're not watching it closely.
Mr. Endo, go ahead. Austin.
On the same note as board member Gal has stated, there's no regulation on this. That's why this thing has to be moved forward. It was recognized that Waianae Neighborhood Board, Nanakuli Neighborhood Board be involved with this as together with Partners in Care, because it was requested by the legislature to assist. Okay, this SR 30 should have been a bill introduced, not just a resolution in a, some kind of guidelines. It should have been a bill by law and signed by governor and adopted by the governor as one. Because they speak about this locations of this area is protected under the Fair Housing Act, under the HUD, Housing Urban Development. Just shouldn't be so because it compromises the safety of our children again. I know say it over and over again, but this is not a one-sided effort. I call upon the sea riders of this area. I call upon the Golden Sea, the Golden Hawks. It's all of us on the west side because we are absorbing all these entities from wherever the addresses come from. They should be said, the outreach program should find out where they came from and please share the aloha, spread it out back to their original addresses. So we can lighten our load on the west side because we are overwhelmed, overcome. But our Wine and Neighborhood Board, the manao you folks have, let's get more into this and see where it goes forward. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mahalo. Peter, step up, state your name for the record, please.
Peter Mulder from Makaha. Yeah, I want to echo the Salcedos and everything. I agree 100%. And the color code it would be a good start at minimum, I think. It's very concerning, this SB 1378. And as all my suspicions, is confirmed of what's going on over here with all that information. It's out of hand. But also I have a personal story about KL Beach. I'm a water person and I surf lately and not so much, but pretty much every day of my life I've been in the water, and the days that I never go in, the days that I did made up for it because that's how much time I spent in the water. And I go to KL Beach a lot and I know it personally. And after they cleared out the homeless that time, not too long ago, I got a really bad staph infection and it's critical. And I just want to say that it's really dirty. People are doing their business on the beach and it's not fair to the community. So that's all I got to say. Aloha. Thank you.
Mahalo, Peter. I'm watching online too.
Yeah.
For any hands.
Kalei Salcedo. Just to inform you, also the legislature had filtered a finding at least 21 unlicensed care home have used the landlord exclusion to avoid the Department of Health regulation oversight, which in placing patient at risk once again. This is not a made up thing. This is all in black and white. That was on the floor meetings today. And also there was on the House meeting on the floor was also about money scandaling, that also was investigated. But how much more is out there that we don't know? Once again, we need to open our eyes, but we need to have our lawmakers, city, county, because federal makes the law, state makes the law, introduces to city upholds the law. But if they all cannot play nice in a sandbox and they like to throw little sand or pebbles, remember, you're in there because the people put you guys there. Do not be in there for your own pocket. Be in there to represent your community and be the best you can do for your community. So this is for all the lawmakers, city, state, it doesn't matter. Stop aiding and abetting the situation. Stop changing the community style of living. You're compromising the safety of my community. You're compromising my culture that we do with the farming. Introduce, nobody know what's going on because everybody's busy on everyday life. So as long as we can be the voice, we're going to try. But do not mess with my kupunas and my keikis. It may not be blood, But a child is a child. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. And I'll be a great grandmother. And I'm going to continue being a voice for them, for my kupunas. That's all I have to say. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
I'll go after Mike. Sure.
Mikey, go ahead, Mike.
Aloha, Michael William Capolino, Eli. I was wondering if you guys got the information on Kala, if they had grading license, if they had archaeologists on site when they went go make their road, because they made that road next to Punanoula Stream. You know what I mean? So the water, if the thing gonna rain, because right now it's rainy season, but they already made the road already. So guarantee the toxins gonna go in that river. Automatic. They're supposed to make on Coral Road. So I like know if they had grading license, archaeologists on site, and the environmental impact statement. Get 3 of them. They're supposed to have that at least to the community or us guys. I mean, because I take care of Punanoula Heiau. So that's what I like know. What else I got? Oh, the 64% of the what the lawmakers, what? They work for us, you know. And I don't think so they should have on raise. No look like I get on raise, because brah, I pay taxes. I pay mean taxes. And I don't think so they need one raise because they don't listen to the people anyway. I mean, they gotta make the right decisions. Cause the guy up there watching us. And you know, make the right decisions for all of us Kanakas and everybody. We're all humans. But you know what I mean? The choices they make, or the puppets, I don't know if they're puppets or what, they're humans too, just like us, but they're listening to the other guys or whatever, Democrat or Republican. I'm not none of the above. I'm just sovereign. That's all I am. Not sovereignty, I'm sovereign. Because I know the kingdom exists and I'm part of the kingdom. We all born in a kingdom. Illegal occupation, that's why. So we live domicile lives because they stay here, United States. That's what they call domicile lives. That's how we all living. One lie. Malaloa. I'm good. Oh, okay, one more. Hunting education class. Hunting, yeah, education class. Kingdom Pathway, Joe's Feliciano. It's on June 16, 2023, Friday, 6 p.m. to 10. That's on Friday. And then get one out can take 2 days. So the 17th, 23, Saturday, 7:45 to 3:45.
Mahalo, Mike.
Mahalo. Allah.
Okay. So
Aloha, state your name for the record.
My
So,
name
oh,
is-
sorry, wait, hold on. We're gonna do Philip first. then-
yes, thank you. Just following up with the community because I'm just actually looking at the governor's flyer and Stacy, Miss Eli can actually probably follow up with this as well. But there is a long-term care ombudsman program that actually you guys could probably call, and if you guys could take that number down, maybe Stacy can talk about it more. But it looks like it's a program that actually can check in on patients. Long-term care, I'm assuming, would be mental health as well. But it's part of the Office of Aging. So it looks like it's a government agency that's supposed to be looking over this, but these are volunteers that go out and check on these individuals. So I guess it would be the streets as well. When you see a mental health patient there, you guys could call this number to check in on them because obviously somebody's supposed to be caring for them. So this phone number is 586-7268. And basically it falls under the Hawaii Long-Term Care Ombudsman. And they fall under the Executive Office on Aging. So it's interesting to see that at the time that you guys are bringing this up and the governor actually has this on his flyer. Thank you.
Mahalo, Philip. Okay, go ahead, state your name for the record, please.
Bill Kumia. It may not make sense what I'm about to say, but I've been sitting back there for about 15 minutes and it's been kind of stirring up inside of me. And I'm glad that all of you are here, but there's only 21 of us. And in what we're about to do, we need the numbers. And just before I came, for some reason, I read the Y9 newspaper, and I was just thinking to myself, just imagine if we had, do you know or do you care? I think and I believe in my heart that if 100,000 people knew what we were going through, what we're struggling with, we might have more than 21 people. We might just have more. And then how do you bring the two, Nana Cooley and Waianae together, one mind, one body, in one accord? Then people start listening. And then they have a hard time putting a wedge between us to separate us. But that's just me. I mean, this is my first meeting yet. And that's what came on my heart was we need to get it out. Some people don't have computers. Some people don't have social media. Maybe some don't have the newspaper, but that's one way of getting the word out. And yes, the paper is nice, got nice things, good things. Our community is being blessed. But if they knew, but we all know, they might just come and help. So that's just a suggestion.
Mahalo, Mr. Kania. Any other questions, concerns? If not, thank you, everyone. We will continue on our agenda and get through everything over here and then to our reports from our elected officials, okay? Okay, we're coming soon. All right, quickly, board members.
Chair, I make a motion to approve Tuesday, April 4th, regular meeting minutes.
Second.
I have a correction.
Okay, discussion.
Okay, page 3 of 4, under question number 2, my name is misspelled. Drop the Y and add the IE. Thank you.
Any other corrections? Okay,
Chair, I motion to approve, accept the minutes of Tuesday, April 4th with amendments, with corrections.
A second.
Mahalo, board member Wilbur, motion to accept the minutes from Tuesday, April 4th with the corrections. Board member Endo, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then board members online, if you could turn on your camera and your audio.
Harry, aye.
Dela Cruz, aye.
Okay, mahalo.
Chair, I motion to approve Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 agenda
Harry, second.
with the out of order, as we took the military out of the agenda order.
Okay, sorry about that. So board member Wilbur made the motion to accept tonight's agenda with the change of taking the Army out of order to 3.3. Okay, seconded by board member Perry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Harry, aye.
Jordan, aye.
Wahilani, aye.
Dela Cruz, aye.
Mahalo, motion passed. Okay, any board members need to report attendance at other meetings, especially those that could have multiple board members there? Go ahead, Joe.
Yes, thank you, Chair. April 5th, I attended OMPO CAC. That's the only meeting I attended last month with an agenda. Mahalo.
And Mr. Lanford, go ahead.
I attended Nanakuli Neighborhood Board, Nanakuli Transportation Committee meeting.
I attended the Waianae Sustainability Plans meeting at LCC Maili on April 26th.
Okay, I don't see any of our other board members online. Okay, Linda, you got those? All right. Okay, just a reminder on a couple of things. One, the Waianae Sustainable Community Plan will begin to come out for general public input soon, so keep an eye out for that and the ways to participate. And then the other thing is they are doing a Red Hill repurposing survey. So if you have any mana'o on that, you can go to redhillrepurposing.com. Okay. I'll drop it in the chat box for those online in a bit. Second thing, voting for your next neighborhood board has opened from April 28th. So you should be seeing, if you're a current voter, you should be seeing something like this in your mailboxes, okay? Don't throw it away. Give good consideration to who's running, who has a passion to serve our community with pono, and that get to know them. Okay. All right. Okay, we have a couple of presentations tonight. I know we had Director Babcock from Department of Environmental Services.
Sure. Can I mention something about that election thing since you brought it up? The mail out election for the form that you was talking about? The mail out, is that the mail out so you can vote? Because initially, when I first got it, I'm not too computer smart or iPhone smart, but anyway, I tried to get on there, and there is another site that it goes to automatically, which is HNL, also a site, but it asks for your email address, and then it asks for a password. So I was confused. I didn't find out until Monday or the following after the weekend that you have to watch which site you get on, because there's another site that also is a HNL one, but that one is not. That one gives out the information according to the commission, because I called neighborhood commission and I said it was confusing because a couple guys had called me and they're not really computer smart. So he said, make sure when they go on that site, it's the one with the picture and not the one with the registration form. If you got the one with the registration form, it's the wrong site. So you have to go with the one that has the colorful picture on, and then you have to scroll down to make sure that it says voting. So you know that you're on the right one, because it was really confusing because somebody called me and I tried it and I found out it was really it wasn't that easy anyway. So if you make one mistake typing in the website, it'll go to the other site instead of going to the voting one. So it's just a FYI for the guys that not really familiar on how to get on that site. Thank you.
Okay, Mahalo, Mr. Lambert. I haven't voted yet, so I didn't even come across that. All right, go ahead, Director Babcock. So he's here to give us some updates.
Yeah, good evening, Chair Poe and board members and community members. Thanks for having me. My name is Roger Babcock. I'm Director of the Department of Environmental Services, and we take care of wastewater and refuse. And so I'm here to give a little bit of an update on where we're at with siting the next landfill and closure of the Waimanalo Gulch landfill. And then I'd be happy to answer, any questions or have any discussion that you guys want to have. So the status is that the landfill, the city has a special use permit to operate the landfill from the state DNR Land Use Commission. And the latest permit was issued in 2019, and it expires in 2028 when the landfill needs to close and no longer accept waste. And at that time, we have to have another landfill in operation to be able to accept municipal solid waste. That's the only landfill that's permitted on the island for anyone to dispose of municipal solid waste, not just the city's waste, but we take state, federal, everything comes to, comes to the city, to that facility. As part of that permit, special use permit that was issued in 2019, there was another deadline, which was for the city to name the next landfill by the end of last year, December 31st, 2022. So the city actually, there was multiple efforts over the years to try and site a new landfill, but in 2021, the mayor appointed an landfill advisory committee, which began meeting to help choose where the next landfill would be. And that consisted of some representatives of various community groups, agriculture, engineering community, and others. And they met over a period of about 9 months, from middle of 22 or 21 through June of last year of 22. During that process, there was the Red Hill fuel spill, and a lot of awareness and concern about drinking water came up at that time. And the sites that the advisory committee was evaluating were essentially all in central Oahu, and there's drinking water, in that area. And so during the process, Board of Water Supply came out and advised the committee that they wouldn't approve of any of the sites that were being evaluated. And so they, want us to kind of go back to the drawing board and find sites that are outside of what they call the no pass zone. And so and the committee recommended to the department, to the city, to the mayor, that we should investigate other sites outside the no pass zone, including potentially federal lands, which we had excluded because of concerns about how long that potentially would take, and essentially takes kind of an act of Congress to get something like that approved, as well as to perhaps go back to the legislature to look to maybe make some modifications to the laws to perhaps open up some other options outside the no pass zone. So that is, so fast forward till the end of December last year, the city went back to petition to the Planning Commission, which makes decisions before going to the Land Use Commission, to request a 2-year extension to name a new site, and to use that time to be able to investigate these other potential possibilities with federal, and perhaps amending the what's called Act 73. And Act 73 was enacted in 2020 after the 2019 dates were set for closure, and naming the new site, which further restricted where the options. So right now we've made that petition to the Planning Commission, and they are in a period of accepting public comments, and so that's possible to do right now on the petition. Again, the petition is asking for the 24-month delay, and then they will schedule there'll be a hearing in June, in late June 28th, where they will take testimony and evaluate whether to recommend the Land Use Commission, which is the state entity, whether to recommend to give this extension. So in the meanwhile, we are working hard, talking to the feds about a site, and talking and evaluating our options in terms of some sites that could potentially become available with minor modifications to existing state law. And so that's kind of where we're at right now with our with the situation with the landfill. So I'd be happy to to answer any questions or give you more information about the landfill. The one of the things I would like to mention, sorry, before questions, is that we are doing everything we can to reduce the amount of waste that goes into the landfill, and that will carry on to the next landfill to make it have potentially be smaller or last longer than it would otherwise. We do a very high diversion rate because you folks know we have H-Power, so we burn the burnable portion of the waste, and then that allows us to just deposit ash basically in the landfill, which is only 1/10 the volume of the rubbish before we started. So essentially that makes a landfill be only either last 10 times as long as it would otherwise if we were burying the rubbish, or allows it to be 1/10 the size, essentially, for the same amount of material or the same amount of waste generated. So anyway, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I do have a few questions for you. So one, you already started mentioning about the technologies, right? Being able to reduce what goes into the landfill. So with that advancing technology, right? That should have extended the usable life of Wamanola Gulch, right? Okay. So tied to that is, I know at the Land Use Commission, there were actually two options. One was to close the existing landfill and find a new site. The other was a district boundary amendment. And I've been trying to ask this question. Can you tell me why the district boundary amendment has been kind of like put to the side? I know I got the response that, they were looking at it, but why is that not as much of an option as actually reciting? Because over these decades, right, those of us who've been here a long time remember the landfill when all the white paper bags would be flying all over the road and you could smell it, right? But it has improved, right? They've done a lot to make it, I think it's nationally acclaimed in the advances and their safety, right? So what really has been looked at as far as the district boundary amendment, and why is that not as much of a priority as relocating? Because relocating, I would think, would take a lot more money than trying to get the extended use out of Wamanola Gulch. I'll stop there because I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the district boundary amendment, the reason we have a special use permit, as I think, is because it's the land is zoned agriculture by, at the state for zoning. And so because of that, it's not a special use permit is required from the state. Otherwise, we would just have a permit from the Planning Commission. So a district boundary amendment would change it from agriculture to something else. And then that would mean that we wouldn't need a special use permit. And that would mean essentially that it could expand beyond the existing landfill could expand in its current location or nearby. And the current landfill area is about 200 acres, and it would be possible to develop perhaps additional, nearby space. However, that isn't what the city is essentially committed to do, which is to find a different location that's not on the west side. So the idea is to try to deal with the sort of the equity issues and social justice issues to have the next landfill be somewhere else. The existing landfill does have space in its existing permitted area to last for a while. But there is a need, to site another landfill. Hopefully that is what answers the question.
Yeah, that's good. I wanted to bring it up so that community in general will understand and realize that there's a lot of stuff that's happening when we're trying to just relocate this, right? I like the equity issue. I like understanding that is ag land, right? And we're all about preserving our ag land and making the best use out of it. But we have also competing interests, right, for that land use. And I think this kind of information helps our community members to engage better, like at the commission meetings, right, or the planning, whatever meetings there may be on this, and ask good questions to that too.
Yeah.
So thank you. Any
Yeah.
other questions from
Right
the
here.
board before we go out to
Yeah.
community? Go
Hi,
ahead,
sir.
Philip.
Nice meeting you again. You know, it's I get what you're saying and I get your background of what you're on the history of it, but it's still very insulting because our separation of trash, which happened 3 mayors ago, and that would have extended the life of the landfill that long ago. Okay, meaning that we went to recycling, we went to green, and then we went to solid, right? And the solid that comes from the residents go to H power. That's how you limited it, right? And then you reduce that. And then there was and these talks happen, and we're talking Mufi Hanneman days now. You know what I mean? And the amount of time has lapsed, and we've been hearing the same thing for years now. I understand you're new in the game, but it happens every administration. New in the game, kick that can on the road, kick that can on the road. At some point, we have to stop dancing on the floor and give us an answer on what is a resolution, because you guys are both government. You know what I mean? It goes back and forth, and now and what the governor actually and the mayor actually stated at his last town hall meeting was that you guys are working together now, and there should be easier process to get through this. And you know what I mean? And identifying land that does not have an aquifer underneath is easily done now with the new what you call LADARs that the city has been doing along with the Army of Engineers. You know what I mean? So you know what I'm talking about, locating the aquifers and everything else where these things are, water flows, all of this is done already. So having the EIS approve all of this and having the approval for the new site should not be an issue. And it should have been already looked at about the aquifers from before, because the liners we know leak. After a while, they actually leach into the ground, and we know that because PVT claims that their system is perfect. But you go up to Lulu Road and you see all the leaching to the side. That's all I'm saying, sir. You're new to the game, I understand, and it's not personal against you. It's just something that I was a young kid listening to all this, and it's still happening. Thank you.
Coco, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm glad that the city and county had taken Waianae Moku off of a possible site for the new municipal landfill. However, I'd like to reiterate what board member Ganabana was saying, and I agree with him. And also, like the city and county as well as the state should have been thinking of ways, when Waimanalo Gulch would have been to its full capacity. In fact, it is, and back from when Mufi Hanneman was married to now, we got over 1 million people that live just on Oahu alone. So where all that trash going, and with the leak, and Red Hill, what was going on. So it's, I hope that you guys really dot you guys I's and cross you guys T's, because it's gonna bite everybody in its butt. And I'm glad that it's taken off of Waianae is taken off the list, because historically since 1909, Waianae was on dumping ground. The Oahu Railroad would bring the rubbish from Honolulu and dump them in Kealavaula. So we done with any trash being into the Aina and Waianae, especially in Waianae. So that's what I wanted to say. Aloha.
Well, we got one more online question. Johnny May, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Roger, the mayor said at his town hall meeting, no landfill in Waianae. So why are you coming here? Why are you coming to Waianae, Roger? I have more questions. Are you, Roger? I don't see you.
I can see you.
Can't
yeah,
see
yeah.
you.
Sure. Sure, yeah. So, should I
Can
go
you
ahead?
come online?
He's here in
Oh,
person.
okay.
It's just our
Okay.
cameraman. We just wait on him.
So I can.
Okay, so that's one question.
Okay, so, yeah, so the reason I'm here is to give an update. As part of the process for the request for, our petition for an extension of the deadline for naming the new site, the, planning commission, gave public notice, including the neighborhood boards. And, as part of that process, before the hearing happens, they request us to go out and talk to the community and make sure they know that this is happening and what we're doing. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, but that's in zip code 96707. It's not in 96792. And you do know the answer about the district boundary amendment, which Chair brought up. From ag, it would go to urban. You know the answers. Okay. So this discussion should be done. No landfill in YNI 96792.
That's
Are you
correct.
also
So-
going to other neighborhood boards like Kailua or Mililani with the same presentation, or only Nanakuli and YNI?
Nanakuli, Waianae, Waipahu, I think all the west side. So because it's the communities that are near the existing landfill, not communities, outside that, like Windward side or anything, or East Honolulu, because the petition is about extending the deadline to name a new site and close the existing landfill. So the folks affected by that are the west side mostly.
Rest of Honolulu. But the Star Advertiser, which you make note of from Senator Shimabukuro, that you use in your report, in the letter from the Star Advertiser, another consideration was Amaran, Hawaii Quarry, on the windward side. But the bottom line, Roger, no landfill in 96792. The governor and the mayor want to ramp up housing. Okay. Where is that all going to go to? It is clearly unfair and unjust for us to maintain the whole island crap. Rubbish. It's unfair. It's unconstitutional. So I think this matter should extend Waimanalo Gouge. They still have the capacity, and consider reclaiming the land that was used to dig it up and reclaim those lands and possibly put them to the H-Power new technology. So the point is not to use more land, is to use the land the best way, not go make puka here, puka there. That's not how we do things in Hawaii. That's not Pono, that we don't do things. We should not be doing things like that in Hawaii. The convenience center in Waianae, more long than Waimanalo Gouge. More long than Waimanalo Gouge. I know about the landfill, that the convenience center when it was a landfill. So bottom line, 96792 off the table. That goes for you, Senator. Okay? It's just unfair. Extend Waimanalo Gouge. You have the capacity. You're underutilizing the property. Reclaim old land to recycle what's under there. Thank you.
Okay, we go to Mr. Endo and then to Sarah.
Does PVT come under your radar too? Your concerns?
I'm sorry, what was the
PVT, the dump, does it come under you as well?
No, so
No,
that's
it's separate.
private, yeah.
Okay.
And they, the city doesn't have a permit to accept, they can only accept, that's a construction and demolition waste landfill. They can't accept rubbish, municipal solid waste. And currently our permit for H-Power and the landfill doesn't allow C&D waste.
Yeah, I guess history comes back to me about Wamanawa Gardens. We haven't had a big 40-day rain, but if you remember, I don't know if it was a 40-day rain that happened, but remember that landslide at Wamanawa Gardens. So I just want to know, does our engineers from Wamanawa Gulf doing everything to prevent that from happening again? Because you have all the nice homes across the road now. I hate to see that whole thing slide and go across the street.
Yeah, so that was 2010. There was a big rain event on that in the area, and that was during an expansion of the landfill and the construction of a stormwater diversion system on the upper side and the whole side of the landfill. And that was not completed. It was under construction at the time, and its construction had been delayed. It was supposed to be completed. And unfortunately, it was bad timing. The rain happened before it was done. And so the water was not diverted around the landfill like it is now with that thing completed. And so it compromised the landfill, as you know, and was a big mess. There was lawsuits, and there was a consent decree. There was a federal court action taken against essentially the city and the operator, Waste Management. And there was even criminal charges result of that. But that was resolved. The consent decree actually was just closed. I think it came in 2012 and was just closed last year. Everything was completed to resolve that. So unfortunately, it was just unfortunate timing that couldn't happen today. So yeah, it's off-site runoff that not from rain that hits the landfill itself. It's from the mountain above and the water coming down, and now it's diverted around properly. But at the time, that project wasn't completed.
So I mentioned some of the improvements over the years, right? Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
Hi there. So I have a question regarding the incineration technique. So this type of technology is quite antiquated, to my knowledge. If the landfill gets moved, will the waste still be treated in that manner of incineration, or are you looking to diversify or explore other alternatives that may be more eco-friendly?
Yeah, Sarah, thank you for that question. So right now we have H-Power, and H-Power has been in operation since 1990.
Right.
And it's been expanded once in 2012. And that was a pretty big deal because that'll increase the capacity of H-Power to be in excess, actually, of the amount of waste that's produced per day on the island. And that actually is kind of heading down, which is the right direction, less waste. But that also means that when repairs, annual maintenance repairs need to be done to H Power and it has to be taken offline, there's now 3 different boilers, 3 different trains, and you can take down one at a time and still be able to process all the waste we have. What that means is during these scheduled outages, which is usually 2 weeks per year per boiler system, then we don't have to divert rubbish to the landfill at all. We can continue operating it and just take ash. But with the question to, with respect to the technology, there are waste energy facilities all over the country and all over the world. It is a good technology. It's tried and true. It is a messy business. There's no doubt about that. However, there are emerging new technologies, and right now we have a big investment, of course, in H Power, and you know, a lot of money invested. It does work well. It also generates nearly 10% of our electricity, and it's a firm source of power as opposed to solar and wind, which are not firm. It only work when it's either windy or the sun is out. H Power is on, you know, 24 hours a day. So it's valuable in that sense also. But we are looking at, there are other technologies, and in the long term, as H Power becomes retired, the original parts, as I mentioned, are quite old now, and we continue to maintain them. But there will be a decision point where we will be deciding whether we will be upgrading in kind or with a new technology. And so we do continue to listen and learn about new technologies and what are possible. And we will be currently the newer technologies don't exist at the scale of like H Power. They tend to be much smaller type of operations. So as they evolve, and we're able to actually see and visit sites that are using some of these new technologies, we will do that, and we will definitely consider them in the future when it's applicable.
One more over here.
Okay, I just want to do a time check, okay, because we're way over our presentation time period. But the last 2 I'll do, I don't see anybody in. Okay, the last 3 I'll do, I'm going to go to Mikey Eli over here, and then go Kaukaohu, and then Joe.
We have a question, okay. Where the rubbish come from?
It comes from all of us.
No, they ship the rubbish in. They ship the rubbish in. You get what I'm saying? They ship the, okay. So you boycott the rubbish from the guys that bring them in, like Walmart, Kmart, all these guys, because they get perishables, yeah? Okay, meat and stuff that you guys cannot burn in H Power. So they throw them back. That's where that thing go, into the landfill, right? So if the pig is not going to take them, right? So what would the thing go right into the landfill, right? So like the meat, the goods, you know what I mean? So why not boycott the rubbish right to them guys? Or what is that? Sam's Club and Costco's, you know what I mean? All these big stores. You boycott the rubbish. Then, you know what these guys got? The raise, 64%. So go take 34% and make because Florida, I go watching on TV. You guys get the leach field. They get their site, and the rain no can even affect them. So what they did is they get the plant right next to them for catch the methane gas, and everything dropped. The rubbish dropped. They add water, and the thing make gas, bro. It's the same thing what you guys doing up there, but if you guys do them the right way, so you know what, these guys got the raise 64%. Go take like 34 out of that or something. So you guys do a better job with the research. What you guys doing? You know what I'm saying? But boycott the rubbish, bro. That's the first thing you gotta do. Because we buying it from them, yeah. Then what they do with the rest of them? The thing go right into the landfill. I know already. I know all the meats and all the goods. But the rubbish, you guys burn them and then you guys put them and then leach them again. You know what I mean? But make them good, where the thing not gonna go down to the ocean. because we eat from the ocean. Everything must go downhill, bro. Everything go downhill. All the thing go to the aquifer. Automatic. There's two places the thing go to. Aloha.
There's a lot of good questions there. And I appreciate that. And you're right. We're doing several things with respect to that. Sorry, won't not take too much time, Chair. But one of the things is food waste. Right now, food waste does go in the gray bin, and it goes to H-Power. Commercial food waste is supposed to be recycled. Piggeries pick up quite a bit of it, but we are under ordinance. We are required to start separating food waste. That's going to go into the green carts with the green waste, and which all gets converted into compost, right? So green waste is going to be food waste is going to be composted along with the green waste and made into a valuable compost up in Wahiawa, right? In addition, the other thing about importing, it's right. Everything, all of our waste that is generated is all imported goods, right? Because everything is imported. So we currently have a working group called a Source Reduction Working Group, and we're looking at reducing source and making the producers or the vendors of the packaging material, for example, to have responsibility. So it's called extended producer responsibility. And they have laws like that in California now. And California kind of leads the way, but also some places on the East Coast, including Florida. So and actually Florida has all waste to energy facilities too. They burn all their rubbish just like we do. And so some great ideas there. Yeah, we're aware of. Yeah, we're aware of all that stuff, and we're definitely trying. So our sustainable our source reduction working group just had their first meeting. They will be helping us look at some of those ideas, and that could lead to legislation. So actually, these things have to be rules and legislation, so that then there's a charge essentially for packing material and stuff like that. So that's just some interesting ideas. So thanks for bringing that up. That's important.
Mahalo. And then I just want to make a comment before we go to the next two people is advancing technologies are awesome because there's global stuff, right? We have to make sure we select and identify those that are important for us here. Yeah. Okay, Kauko'ohu and then Joe, and then we're going to finish there for Director Babcock.
So Director Babcock, thanks, Chair. So are you folks is your department working closely with H-Power? Because the shutting down of H-Power, right? So you're not going to be burning any of burnable trash anymore, right? But so what is the next method of what they're going to do? And if your department are working closely with the landfill, if not, I think you guys should. And I would implore you folks to watch this documentary called Planet of the Humans, and it's a really mind-opening documentary about sustainability and about climate change, the whole thing to do it, with biomass and everything involved with landfills and so that's my question for you.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah. So we own both H-Power and the landfill. We actually don't operate either of them. They're both operated by contract operators. So is our composting facility, and so is our mixed waste recyclables, the green carts. So H-Power isn't closing anytime soon. When it expands or is regenerated in the future, we may use different technology. The landfill is operated by Waste Management for us under contract, and H-Power is operated by a company called Covanta, which operates 30 or 40 facilities across the country. So we do work closely. We own all those things, and we're responsible for all of it, including, of course, all the collection. So the main function is to make sure the refuse, one of the biggest important functions is collection and operating and doing curbside collection, as well as operating the convenience centers, the transfer stations, and making sure the rubbish gets collected and doesn't accumulate. So, yeah.
One way short, should just stop having people develop over here and having people move here, because we got, I don't know if our island can sustain another 200 influx of 200,000 people, it'll be 300, you know, so, yeah, mahalo.
Mahalo. Okay, Joe, we'll finish off with you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Director Babcock, for being here this evening. So just two questions. What would be the cost of siting a new landfill? And once a new site is selected, how long will it take before that new landfill is open? You know, we're gonna have to do environmental assessments and all the protocols. So just those two questions, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. So the cost of the new landfill does depend on the price of the land. And that's the main factor. Right now, we've budgeted, I believe there's 200 million is the budget estimate that we have in place for purchasing land and constructing a new landfill. The second question was, how long does it take? What's been cited in the past is it would take 6 years to get through that process and open a landfill.
Okay, mahalo. Okay, I have on-site. Go ahead. We're going to finish off with Julie. Julie, go to the microphone so we can get you.
Rubbish is generated.
You got to speak into the
Yeah,
mic, Julie. So
The
we can
question
check.
was how much rubbish is generated per person or per unit? Yeah, so basically the per person is about 6 pounds of rubbish, or 6 point something pounds per person per day for every single person. It ends up being like 1.6 million tons per year of rubbish. It's a lot of stuff. And yeah, so but we need to be able to so we have to be able to take care of all that.
New development, we know.
Yeah, exactly. And luckily though, the amount of rubbish generated, per person and overall in general tends to decrease rather than increase. So even with population growth, we actually have less rubbish now than we had, in years past. And so that's the trend. The trend is to do source reduction, reduce packaging, and reduce throwaway materials, and have compostable materials and stuff like that.
This question is, we had issues at the homeless, that if they had rubbish bins, they would use them, but can't get them.
Oh, we'll have to check on that. I'm not sure. It would depend on the operator, who's operating the facility. But there should be rubbish collected there. And if there is, we will take care of it.
Okay, wait. I see all the hands, because Johnny may get her hand up over here. Okay, wait. Hold on. We're at 8:15. Johnny may go ahead because I saw your hand up earlier about the time when Joe was talking. But we got to finish over there because it's 8:15. Sorry, Mikey.
Okay, with the solar panels and the battery and EV cars, I'm hoping that the city already starting on the disposals of those when it no longer works. That's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. It's a huge concern nationally. There's very limited options for recycling. And the NiCad batteries in particular are a big problem, or the lithium batteries, sorry. Lithium ion batteries cause fires and stuff at facilities. So we are working on that, and the solar panels and the other batteries, but we don't have, right now they would be shipped off island.
Well, I want to thank you, Director Babcock. Sorry, Mike, you got to ask him offline, okay? No, because then otherwise everybody else's hand's going to go up. So
Sorry
Director
for taking so much
I
time.
want to
Yeah.
ask you to come back to a different meeting.
Sure.
Something else was set up outside of this. So there's some greater understanding on some of these different components. But I do thank you for coming tonight.
Happy to
And
do that, yeah.
if you guys have other questions for him, go catch him before he walks out the door. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more presenter, Tara. Go ahead. Tara's from Pals and Places, and they're just want to talk about this Makaha Community Park project.
Yes, sorry, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, but my name is Tara Ferron. I'm with Pals and Places. Thank you guys for having me and having me last minute. Our director, Dr. Kei Fukuda, is also here virtually. I don't know if we can show the presentation just to give a visual, but I'm just here to propose a mural for the Makaha Valley Community Park Recreation Center and bathroom. So I'll just go a little bit into it right now. We work with the ALC groups in Nanakuli and Waianae. Currently, the Waianae Intermediate School ALC Alternate Learning Center students are housed in the Makaha Rec Center, which just got remodeled and looks great. The picture is kind of small, but hopefully you can recognize the structure here. This is the bathroom. It's kind of between the rec center and the elementary school. So we are talking about the whole structure, covering the whole structure. We can go to the next slide. And you can click through the bullets. So just who's involved would be, so places, we do the after school programming is called PALS, and then our during the school programming with the ALC is places. We would primarily work with the artist. We have them a contract with them. So financially, we would compensate the artists, we would provide supplies, but more importantly, our role would be educational so that teachers and community know that this is a tool that can be used. You know, teachers can walk their students over from Makaha Valley, from Makaha L, and basically interact with the mural. The artists are from 808 Urban. So this artist would be Keala Kukui Mahoney, and John Prime Hina is her mentor. This is a new process for us. We usually work directly with the schools. So we've done 2 in Nanakuli, high and intermediate. We've done 1 at Nani Kapono. They have done some on their own, Waianae Intermediate School, the Boat Harbor, Nanakuli and Farrington, Ma'ili Learning Center. So they're very involved in the coast and telling stories of the coast. And then, like I mentioned, the ALC students being involved, hopefully residents, community members, Makaha L students being involved in the process, but also in the research, just hearing Mo'olelo, the floral and fauna of the area, or what used to exist in the area. So a lot of science, art, culture, and they do a great job with the students as well. So I just put the address here. You can see the roof is that zigzag. So they would cover the whole roof as well. And I'll show you the images that they're proposing. And then this wouldn't be until the next school year. So hopefully the students we worked with through the entire year would come back. We can make arrangements to have them come back, but also for next year's students as well to participate. Next slide. You can go through the bullets, yeah. So this is the mural she just finished in Waianae Enter. So this is right in the middle of the school. It kind of tells a story. If you haven't checked it out, if you could, it's a really interesting piece. It tells the story of Keawa Ula, what used to exist there, our native dry forest, the Willy Willy that used to be there. So it's a beautiful piece. Kukui's been working with these students for the whole year. So she's been coming and doing many workshops. Again, just learning the Mo'olelo place and the native flora and fauna. So the next few slides are some of the images she's proposing. So, of course, we asked the students what they love about their community. They're very proud of Makaha and Makaha Surfing Beach. And of course, they want to honor the surfing legends. We would have to ask the families and get permission if this is approved, of course, but to honor that piece of history. And then if you see, this is some of the, I believe that's the Eva bird as reference to Kaiona and Ka'ala. So again, that cultural piece. And then if we go to the next slide. She plans to do the whole ceiling. So there's stars and constellations that were important. And I believe she wants to do reference the Miley Lay on the posts that go down to the seat. So just some ideas she came up. Nothing is set in stone. This is just ideas that she wanted to throw out to the board to see if this is something we could do. And just next steps, we would, I mean, whoever the students choose or the community chooses, we'd obviously get permission from the families. We're going to continue to work with the ALC through our grant for the next year. Sorry. And, you know, come up with a graffiti plan, a maintenance plan, like how can we make this sustainable for the years to come? And hopefully with the community involvement, they'll feel a little bit of ownership in the piece. So that is it.
Mahalo, Tara. So I did want to also point out that Nathan Sorota from Department of Parks and Recs had also been in touch. He was going to be here tonight, but he was unable to make it. He did mention that, you know, they support these community mural projects and that not just because of the beautification part, but, you know, they tell them all there's educational opportunities, both for the students as well as for the families and community. But he also did say that regarding maintenance, they have a public art agreement that they do with all mural projects. So, you know, if somebody should vandalize it, right, what they do and can be done. Okay. So part of the reason why Tara was here tonight was to introduce this project. And usually they wanted a vote, but I told her what we like to do is actually go to committee so that community can also engage. I know the focus is on the students, but I think the greater community would also like to kind of have this kuka discussion with you. And I asked her to come to the housing committee meeting, next week. Yeah, so if they're able to do that. So you guys have any questions for Tara or comments? So go ahead, please step up over here, Kale. Thank you. And then I'll look online too.
But you know, out of respect, Mr. Gigi, we all know Mr. Gigi has been doing farming for years. If anything, Mr. Gigi had been doing farming over 40-something years, okay? So in respect, I would rather have something to dedicate towards him instead of Macau Surfing Beach. That's totally different because Mr. Gigi has been part of the school for years. They taught our kids how to farm, to do kalo, taking care of animals, everything. So out of respect, I would, put my insight is Mr. Gigi. That's all I have to say.
I think that's a great idea. She actually has a few murals on Ho'aina itself, and we asked to do in there, and they just don't have any more space. But I think it's a great idea to incorporate him, especially for what he means to the school. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, I have 2 questions from online so far. Sarah, go ahead, and then we'll go to Johnny May.
Hi, Tara. Thank you for being here with us. So I have just like a couple comments rather than a question. So that particular park is quite vulnerable, let's just say. The area is known to attract some negative elements. There's constantly broken glass and drug paraphernalia laying around. Just last week, there was an incident with a stranger taking photos and approaching children. So I just don't think that I appreciate the idea. However, I wonder if that's the appropriate place.
So just to respond to that, I think I don't know if there's a stigma for ALC students, but if this is where we're putting them, what does that say to what we think about students in the ALC? And so I think that I agree with that, and I understand even in the past few years, the incidences that have happened there. But I think the idea, especially because the building itself just got a remodel, and a lot of money was put into that, and it looks really great. I know it's not utilized as often, but the idea is if we can beautify or change and kind of bring in some pieces that might mean something and that the students are involved, it might shift. I mean, it's not going to shift the whole community, but it might shift how they feel about their space because they might be there for, I mean, they've been there for, I don't know how many years already, but I don't think they're going to move spaces. So it's just an energy shift in the space for the students. It would be my response.
Itself.
I'm sorry, one
You
more
cut
time.
out.
What about having a mural at the school itself rather than at the community park?
There is, so the two Kumu, Eric Matanane and Bruce Moku, have the idea of doing a mural inside of the building as well. So that is also on the table. It's still, this is a new process for us to go through because we usually work with the schools directly. So doing the mural in Waianae Intermediate was no problem. This one is a little bit lengthier process. So we're open to the feedback.
Well, the hope is that even with the ALC students there, because they have been there for a long time, that if they're part of this process, they were able to take some of this ownership and help to deter some of what, the defacing that could happen. So even with DPR, they say, the artist has about 2 weeks to address any, if there's any defacement or damage done, and then they'll come in and do whatever they need to do. But the first and foremost is to allow them to address whatever happened there. But we've seen actually an increase in these kind of community participated murals go up in our parks. Just in general, I think we should find places and opportunities to add some of this mo'olelo and color to our spaces. But the discussions for a long time also have been just some of the disregard that other members of our community have for these spaces and damaging things. And that's always a concern for us because that takes resources away from us being able to advance things because now they only go to repair things. Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry, you have anything? Go ahead.
Yes. I'm a parent of Makaha Elementary, and so one can't but help to feel jaded and feel almost like we can't have nice things because not everybody wants to be a respectful and contributing member to society. That's why I thought perhaps if the mural were to be at the school itself, it would be preserved and actually viewed rather than at the park. That's all. Thank you for.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, Johnny May, go ahead.
I'll go after Johnny May. Sure.
Thank you, Chair. So, as far as the history of the community, I think the kids are too young. Maybe what's the history of the parks? How did we start getting parks in the community? Yeah, I mean, it's good to have the kids involved, but they really don't know the history of where they live, other than getting home. But maybe a history of the parks itself, and maybe the kids can add a little something, something that would reflect culture, something that would reflect respect, respect of self, respect of community, respect of family. And maybe another consideration, if you live on this side, when you pass Kahi Power Plant, coming westbound, to your right, there's a big concrete slab, I believe that comes under Department of Transportation. That's a beautiful land. That's a beautiful blank canvas to consider. But talk to our senator about that. That would be my thoughts. It's not just a matter of putting color to the walls. the thought process needs to be deeper and relevant to the place they're in. Thank you.
Thank you. So Tara did share that, part of Pals in Places, they had some people come in to talk about, some of the history and all with the keiki. And, they're elementary school students as well. So it may be beginning conversations, but, they've tried to do justice to that part of it as well. So, just take community input as this grader.
Yeah, I mean, just this whole process is a learning experience. So it's great to
Okay.
get feedback.
I'm gonna go to Philip, then we'll go to Liana, then we'll come to Mr. Endo, and then to Kay.
I wanted to thank you to come out.
Yeah, I got a question for you after, Chair.
That building has been in existence for a long time, and it has represented the Makah community for a long time. And yes, the remodel, I take it personally because I grew up at that place as well. So the art itself doesn't create animosity or people to do that. As you can see all over the highway, there's murals that haven't been touched on our, and I'm pretty sure that's her, right? Because that's kind of her drawings on the green
Fully in
boxes.
Farrington Ave, that
Yeah.
first one, yeah. She's trying to
Yes.
finish it up. as well.
And it has been there for a long time, and she has met the culture. Like Tomora's has the musubi, that's a
Yeah.
cute one there, so I understand that. And you know what? And in a way, it's introduction back to Hawaiiana, back to the school, because Hawaiiana was a big issue in that school. And that's what was mandatory for us to learn. And the schools have taken that out. And by you introducing these murals are actually one way to bring it back in. But I also agree it shouldn't be focusing on Buffalo on that mural, because Buffalo is actually from Nanakuli and he uses Makah Surfing Beach. So if they want that mural, if they want to represent Buffalo, then it should be at Makah Surfing Beach and not at that elementary. So Father Gigi has touched that community there, and there's other community members in that area that actually has touched that area, So I think that would reflect them, or like Mr. Oshiro, he was one of the maintenance guys from way back then. Mrs. Smith was one of the long-term teachers. Those are the individuals that should be there, that has been there from the decades when it was a plantation camp that took care of the place. That's showing the history of what used to be there. Because I can tell you right now, that area used to be all the way up before even Chinho even developed it. Sugarcane was on the bottom, but it was all greenery all the way up. So you bringing back that beautification that hardly anybody knows about, that is very good. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you for your feedback.
Mahalo, Liana.
Aloha, Liana, Cortez Kikawa. I just wanted to put my input on what a mural does in a community. Nani Kapono had their mural painted. The school is using it as a way to teach the history. So maybe the kid's too young, or maybe they don't know their history. That's their way of opening it back up. So I appreciate and I love the thought behind it all. I feel it should be a community input, like go around in the community, ask the people around there what history or what person they would like to see, so that they can have the pride of their mural. That they live there, they should be using the facilities. I know before Makaha Elementary, when we were living there in Makaha, they talked a lot about how Oli the dog, or something that the kids can relate to, even though the dog was actually about a dog in Makua, but it's just the history. So, I know you guys did a lot of homework, maybe got a lot more homework to do, but I think it should be a community input, not just people here tonight or people that love the school. It should be everybody that enjoys the park. Yeah. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Liana. Okay, Mr. Endo.
I like what Philip brought up. I honor Buffalo and stuff, but Macau Park is not the place. It's my opinion.
Again, just first draft with the students, but the community.
So I move on Manuku Street, 1980. So that park is a part of my family's life. I love the pictures. And tell you why, except the person part, the flowers and the plants, because the kids have a partnership with Gigi's farm. So plants, stuff they grew, if you can find out some of the major stuff they grew at the farm, you might want to incorporate that, right? And bring back memory. What people don't know, if you want history, the big open lot that's above the park, there used to be a watermelon farm. Nobody knows that, except the one I store people, one of the brothers. Nobody know. There was a big watermelon patch. So things like that, you might want to incorporate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Mr. Endo. We'll go to Kay and then we'll finish off with Kauka'ohu.
Aloha, Shar. It's been a long time.
Aloha.
Around. Appreciate everybody's input. The reason we start, our very first mural with students was at Nanakuli High School. And there is just increasing research on the impact of the arts. And we knew that, the arts is something that has been removed from schools for many reasons. But especially for kids who are, put in alternative learning programs, the arts have a huge impact on them, potentially, not every single one of them, but it's a healing effect and it's a psychological, so the way they see themselves. So one of the, we worked with this particular group a couple years ago, and during the powwow in Honolulu, where in Kaka'ako they do all the murals, and Prime with 808 Urban was doing a mural in Kaka'ako. And so we brought all the kids in town to work on the mural. And the mural that the kids worked on was the portrait of a young 13-year-old Hawaiian boy who he had been arrested during the uprising after the annexation. And so I was there with the kids, and this young kid who does not see himself as a learner, he's with a group of kids who do not see themselves as learners. He stood there and he told me the history, and he told me about this young girl. He was so proud of himself. And so that's sort of at the bottom, the foundation of what we're trying to do is it's about helping the students and as Tara said, everything that they learn in the process of creating the murals, they see to help them, support them to maybe see themselves differently and to see themselves as learners and see themselves as capable and competent and contributors in their community. So that's kind of the foundation behind this art effort. Thank you.
Mauna Kea. It's good to see you. Go ahead, Kauka'ohu.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Chair. I love Kay's mana'o and everybody else's mana'o and input, and what Liana said. It should be a kako thing with everybody. And Tara, mahalo nui. Also, recognizing the evil bird from who Kaiona of Kala, goddess of Kala, was she was in charge of the evil bird. I could help noticing that maybe can input had halo on there, right? Like maybe Kamohoali'i, right? Who's the shark god, and his son Nanaue is out in Makua in Kaneana Cave, so maybe that could be, and implementing back like what Philip said, Hawaiiana, and the reclamation of Kanaka identity and the kuleana that comes behind that for our Nahaumana, especially at a young age, because they're sponges, and especially majority of our Nakeki is the Kanaka o Iwi. So, I hope the best for this, and the pictures look awesome anyway, but mahalo nui.
Thank you.
Mahalo. So I just want to say again, Tara, thank you very much for coming tonight and Kay for being online. Mikey, I'm telling you. Young question for Tara. Okay, go.
Okay, Macau was on fish pond. So that's what is the gate for the fish pond. When Macau Beach was on fish pond, yeah, and the Warriors, yeah. And then like these guys said, Nanakuli get history too, because Maui, he's from Nanakuli. So he went pull out Huliava. That's why they call him Huliava. He went yank that out first. That's where he's from. He from Nanakuli. He pull out Oahu. And then where he in Capture Sun is on Haleakala in Nanakuli. So that's the history of that. Yeah. The thing get the Puhaku over there and bust in half. Stay in Garden Grove. But over here is, like they said, GG too. GG is good. He worked with Haloa too. So yeah, that's all the chair.
Mahalo, Mikey. Okay, Tara.
Okay, thank you.
So for those, who gave good mana'o tonight, next week at the housing meeting, okay, so if you know my email address, just shoot me one quick time with some of your suggestions too, okay? Or engage directly next week. You got to go look online for the link. I don't have it with me right now. All right. So thank you, Tara, again. Thanks, Kay. We're going to keep moving on because we have 30 minutes to get through our elected officials and our city monthly reports. Don, are you still here? Yes, I see you, Don. Go ahead. Okay, wait. We have 4 minutes for each one now. Go ahead, Don.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Can I hear you good?
You can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I have some answers from last month's meeting. There was a question by member Jordan. When is the RFP contract with ASI up for renegotiation with the city? Department of Land Management reports that the request for bids for the Kauhale, Kamaili, and Halona housing was due on April 3rd, 2023. The results of the bid solicitation has not been revealed since the procurement process is currently being processed by the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services. Alternative Structures International, ASI, may be reached at 808-620-9011. For let's see, member Johnny May asked for an update status regarding questions from the Waianae Town Hall meeting about Kaupuni Park. Department of Parks and Rec reports that Town Hall issue play apparatus. We followed up internally on the possibility of having a replacement play apparatus installed. We spoke with our vendor and are looking at the possibility to have a replacement in a year's time. In addition, we are preparing to receive bids for the re-roofing of our park restrooms. Closing of bids for this project was March 2023. We hope to have the project completed by fall 2023. Member Vahilani asked if there were any reported sewage spills across green lanterns in front of the wastewater treatment plant within the past 2 weeks. When first asked, there was a big stain and it smells really bad. Department of Environmental Services reported there were no sewage spills or reported sewage spills across Green Lanterns or anywhere near the wastewater treatment plant during the time frame of concern. And then lastly, resident Salcedo requested a revisit and have a discussion on Ordinance 2036. Public testimony was denied on the bill and there were misinterpretations of the law. DNV reported that resident Salcedo, please reach out to your council member for further assistance regarding his concern of the denial of public testimony for the ordinance. That's all I have to report. And I was just gonna, offer that you had a question, Chair Poi, about the landfill and why a special use permit versus, a temporary use versus going in for a district boundary amendment. And from what I understand, a special use permit is temporary in nature, and the use should be for limited time. So ideally, I think that a landfill, if the technology is in place, that at some point, once it's full or once it's completed for use. You can cap it and be able to use use that land again for the areas for the uses that it's zoned for. So it could potentially go back to agriculture or open space or other uses. But kind of from a legal standpoint, special use permits are meant to be temporary for unique uses that are somewhat compatible, say for the agricultural district, whereas a boundary amendment, that would mean it'd be permanently, well, not permanently, but would become part of the urban district, which would allow for a lot of other uses that you may not want to have. Other than that, I'm here for any questions. Mahalo.
Okay, any quick questions for Mayor's rep? Go ahead, Johnny May.
Thank you, Chair. Just Don, the mayor did say about no landfill in YNI 96792. So I just wanted that to be a constant reminder. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm doing a quick scan. I do not see anyone. Nobody here in person either. Okay, it was quick tonight, Don.
Thank you.
Oh, Don, I know there is one that if you can follow up, Mike Eli did ask about grading permit for the Ka'ala, the additional, how much is it, 1,200 acre site on Punana Ula,
Okay.
1,400 acres site. They put in an asphalt road. They had permit for that. They did the EIS and the archaeological survey. Okay.
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, Don, thank you. We'll see you next month.
See you next month. Take care.
Aloha. Councilwoman, thank you for your patience.
Aloha Chair, aloha board members, aloha community. Thank you for staying and for listening and for contributing. Appreciate the conversation about the mural. In fact, I was at the Nanakuli High School when Kay and them did their first mural. And I did the one at Makaha as well, and I helped to organize the one on Food Giant. Definitely a believer in changing the energy of spaces. Just this past Saturday, we were able to change some energy of spaces. We did clean on Lualuale, as well as behind on the access road at Helelua, along the canal area, and then, of course, on Pa'akea, we were able to extend out a little bit. Want to thank the Army volunteers that came out, but also a lot of community members. A lot of trucks were donated, drivers, operators, in order for us to get that done. So it was a great time out in the community. In the packets that you guys see in front of you, you have the newsletter. So I went over a few things. I just want to say this for Mikey. So this is how it happened. We have a salary commission. There's 5 people. They suggested we get the 64% raise. One person voted no. They made their recommendation to us. Now we can either accept or reject it. So me and Augie put forward a resolution to reject it. So hopefully by next week, if the chair puts it on the agenda for full council, then all the council members will actually have to vote yes or no on the rejection. I know that 4 of us are against it, but I don't know, because we would need 6 of us to vote yes on that in order for it to be rejected. So just for transparency, I'm against the 64% raise, because it's crazy. Who gets 64% raise ever in their life? And of course, the bigger question is that in the charter, in the Honolulu charter, it still states that we're a part-time job. The initial charter said that they wanted the council members to be basically community members and still hold on to their jobs so that they were average citizens, like a citizen legislature. So I do think that that would have to be resolved in the charter before any full-time salary is discussed. So in your packets, I also gave you a copy of the town hall. So on May 31st, we'll be having the major of Honolulu Narcotics Division, and we'll be covering, wait for it, game rooms and chicken fights. So he'll be sharing more about what their division, because specifically their division handles those 2 things. So don't ask me any of those questions. Come to the town hall, because the major is better suited to share with us where they're at. I already gave him a list of all the addresses of all the game rooms in all of Waianae. So I did, yeah, because come on, we know the addresses, guys. So I gave him the addresses and I said, tell me what priority order we're going in here. We're just concerned. Obviously, a lot of the shootings, a lot of the crime is happening in areas where, these these type of illegal activities happen. But please come to the town hall, learn more, and let's bring our voices there so that we can also share our thoughts. And then that bill that you have in there is Bill 19. So that's still being discussed. So this Thursday at the Parks Committee, it'll be discussed again. That's going to be discussed all the way to the end of this year, but it is regulating commercial activities at our parks. So I really want everyone to chime in here. You know, I think it's a massive bill. And so Augie is taking it kind of month by month and discussing small sections of it. But I know everybody in this community really, really loves our parks. So I want to make sure everyone has, you know, time to share and chime in on that. And if you didn't see at Cal Beach Park, there is poles and chains going up. We put that into the budget and oh my gosh, it popped out. So it's not done yet though. I've never seen all the poles and chains go up yet. So let's not celebrate until we see it all around the whole park. But I'm sure I'll do a video about it when it's done. So that's all I have to share. You know, there's a million other things going on. I did want to make mention to all the homesteaders that Bill 30 came up in the Nanakuli Neighborhood Board. And basically it's taking the minimum property tax, which is right now $300. So say your property tax is under $300. The minimum is $300. Unfortunately, in Bill 30, which is about credit unions, it's suggesting to raise the minimum property tax from $300 to $600. Now let's talk about who that affects. Every single homesteader. So we got to really, really oppose that. So the most recent movement in the budget committee is to take all the property tax proposals and put it into a permitted interaction group to discuss and kind of come out with one. But guys, we got to stay on this because there's no way, because actually it went from 100 for homesteaders up to 300 only like 3 years ago. So we can't just have another increase and more than that, a double in the amount. So I did bring it up to the introducer who didn't know that that affects all the homesteaders. I was like, we cannot be having this. So definitely wanted to make everyone aware of that. It's not moving. There's no hearing for it. But after the permitted action group meets, there is going to be a proposal coming out and we need to make sure that that's not in it. I'm open for questions.
Mahalo, Councilwoman. Okay, so if you have questions online, please raise your hands or line up over here. Go ahead, Austin.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Andrea, the park, Cal Beach Park, yes, it's developing right now with the chain borders, the poles is all going up. It's past the first pavilion on the Makua side. It's headed towards Makua direction. Looking good. There's no activity as far as trucks driving on the particular area. So that's a plus. On the weekends, when there's no management there, no vehicles on the park, that's a plus on in front of the Makua side of the park. So that's a big plus, but we still have the encampments on the undeveloped portions yet. They're kind of not getting into the home. But what Donna Puna had spoke about as far as our petition regarding the upgrade of our, no, basically exempting us from any type of sewer hookup. There was a House bill that I talked to Director Roger Babcock about, HB 1396. It's already been amended twice already. I told him we need the interpretation because the language in there, that bill itself speaks about money, more study, UH study, and tax exemptions, but still money coming out of our pockets. So more so that we have to push for this petition. I'm sorry to say, but the city ordinance that was introduced by Ikaika Anderson puts a hurt to everyone on this, because even though you have an installed septic system, if there's a sewer line, you are required to hook up. But with the language in this new House Bill 1396, we need interpretation, Roger, regarding upgrading or converting a qualified cesspool to a Director of Health approved wastewater system, or connecting to qualified cesspool to our sewage system. So we're trying to say that our septic system, when we installed, it was approved by the Department of Health. My interpretation, we're good. Leave us alone on Noholio Road. Our petition needs to move forward on that. Okay, so thank you.
So Director, we can get together about that. Sounds good.
Mahalo, I have a question online from Johnny May.
Sure. Andrea, how is it that the credit union and the DHHL connection, the correlation?
I know it's the weirdest thing, right? It's because the credit unions are also at the 300. So they put the credit unions at the minimum amount, because it was a benefit to the community. So the reasoning behind Bill 30 from the commission was that, credit unions are the same as banks. They shouldn't have this discount. Okay, well, you can write that for the credit unions, but you can't change that. The minimum amount 300 now has to change to 6 because that affects many more people than the credit unions. So I did explain that to the people who introduced the bill, and they were unaware that actually it's not just credit unions that pay the minimum 300 that many people do. So that's how it was there. And it doesn't say homestead. So just so you know, if you go to the bill, it's not going to tell you that homesteaders one. It's just that everyone who falls under the minimum of 300 is being suggested that they double their minimum property tax. So
Is there some way it can be excluded from
yeah, I mean,
that
if the bill makes it
or
out,
different language?
if the bill makes it out of the permitted interaction group or any portion of it, of course we can strike it. And I will. And I'll definitely call every single homestead to come rally that.
Okay, thank you.
Mahalo. I don't see anything else for you, Councilwoman, tonight, so thank you very much. Okay, Board of Water Supply. Chris, are you still here? Shucks, I think he had to go. Okay. Kapay on that one. Vic, there we go. Vic and Danny, thank you for your patience.
Aloha,
Danny, go
Chair.
ahead.
I
Aloha.
believe I'll start off this evening, if you don't mind. Thank you for having us. And so first with the updates from Red Hill. So Joint Task Force Red Hill announced it is still on schedule to complete defueling by June of 2024. What they've done, what the Joint Task Force has done is they've created a dashboard that has updates. It's like a graphic design that shows the updates on all the different repairs. I posted a link to the most recent dashboard in the chat block. And also the Navy is reminding the public to complete the online survey to provide inputs into ideas for the non-fuel related alternatives for Red Hill once it's defueled. So in the this month's agenda, the link to the survey is there. We're encouraging everyone to participate. About 350 surveys have been completed now. The surveys will be completed by the end of the month, so May 31st. So yeah, please go in there and provide inputs. And also subject matter experts on the long-term monitoring, long-term water monitoring, had an information booth at the Navy Exchange on April 27th. That's to help residents learn about how the water tests are being done and how to actually read them online, read the results online. The next one will be toward the end of the month, May 25th. So we're encouraging residents who are on the Navy water system and are interested in learning about how those long-term monitoring tests are being done. You could go to that big exchange to find out more. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Flint, and he'll have additional information. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Victor Flint, Public Works. April 12th, Navy was at the Blaisdell. We're hiring emergency dispatchers, police, family housing, youth programs, NAFAC Hawaii, the full gamut, full-time government positions. Many applied for those positions, and good luck to all applicants. April 22nd, Earth Day. Navy volunteers assisted with Earth Day events around Oahu. Pearl Harbor Bike Path, UH West Oahu, Loku Pa'ai'au, Ulupo Heiau are just some of the locations. From trail, cultural restoration to planting of coconut trees. That was a very busy day of environmental kokua and stewardship. Kolikoli Pass. NAFAC's kuleana is to keep Kolikoli Pass clear and passable in case of emergencies. And in the recent months, it's been a challenge, but Kolikoli Pass remains open and clear in case of emergency vehicle leeward access. Last, Make-A-Wish. This is heavy. The Fletcher family requested the Navy to kukua, and to kukua their young son, Elliot, as part of the Make-A-Wish. He wants to visit Pearl Harbor and look at the neat ships. He also wants to visit the Arizona Memorial and look at the memorial and pay his respects. This will be coming up on May 5th and 6th, and the Navy will ensure that Elliot's wish comes true. That's all I have. Are there any questions for myself or Brother Danny?
Mahalo. Any quick questions for Navy? Okay, not seeing any online or on site. Thanks, Danny, and thanks, Vic, for Navy reports. All right, okay, Governor's rep. Go ahead, Stace.
Thank you, Chair, board members, community. I just wanted to follow up with questions that we were asked last month. So board member Wahilani asked if governor would have a town hall in the Waianae community. Governor is open to having a town hall here if the Waianae board would like to host the meeting. He would be more than happy to come out. Second question that we were asked was, will governor fully staff homeless coordinator position? There was complaints about calls and emails not being responded to. So the response is governor's homeless coordinator works to respond to emails within 48 hours of receipt. We checked and we have not received any emails from member Jordan, and we apologize if maybe there was a miscommunication about the email address. So the correct email address is gov.homelessness@hawaii.gov. We have been working to hire administrative staff since January to help ensure that all calls are properly routed and responded to. Now that the legislative session is over, we will redouble our efforts to get the administrative staff in place as soon as possible. The governor's homeless coordinator has been resourced to create a team to address permanent solutions to end homelessness in Hawaii and is in the process of building his team to maximize the office's efficiency while still addressing public comments. To the state office on homelessness and housing solutions has implemented some immediate tools for community members with inquiries and concerns. Everyone is encouraged to visit an updated version of the website, which has an improved resource guide and a community concerns tab with a direct contact form. The website is homelessness.hawaii.gov. For assistance or for help, it's Homelessness Hawaii. It's basically the same thing for help and for concerns. For urgent, non-violent homeless related concerns on Oahu, the public is encouraged to, sorry, I'm going to read this correctly. Crisis Outreach Response and Engagement Hotline at 808-768-2673. All other emergencies, the public is encouraged to report to the authorities by calling 911. The third question that I have is has to do with the homeless coordinator hasn't held an interagency meeting. Will the governor have coordinated the coordinator hold a meeting? So the response is they will be restarting the Interagency Council on Homelessness meetings over the summer. Part of the leadership change will include the evolution of former practices, including the way the office coordinates and hosts these meetings. However, as in the past, though, public notice will be posted in advance of the ICH meetings. And that is all that I have in response to the questions from last month. I did want to encourage everyone to look in the back of our newsletter, or if you have access to the website, the number to call for the governor's office is 808-586-0034. The email is gov.communications@hawaii.gov. And the website is governor.hawaii.gov. And I will take any and all questions and concerns and comments you folks have for the governor.
Mahalo. We'll start online. We'll go to Johnny May and Joe.
Thank you, Chair. Stacey, I have DHHL Two questions. You can answer.
If I can, I will. If not tonight, I will address it at the following, at next month's meeting.
So is Cully Watson on board?
Chair Cully Watson is our chair director. Yes, he is.
Okay. Okay, next question. Andrea brought up about Bill 30. And it applies to credit union. And she says that they used to pay $300. Now their rate, it's gonna go to $600, and that's gonna impact the not per se real property tax for DHHL, but there's some kind of correlation between the two. If you can check on that, as Department of for DHHL, how is that the connection between the both? That's it.
Okay, thank you.
That was Bill 30.
I will get an answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
Hello, Chair. Thank you, Governor's Rep, for coming. I didn't state last month that I emailed, so no, I did not try to communicate with his office. I have been receiving complaints from individuals that haven't been able to get responses to emails or phone calls. So if their contact numbers have changed or their emails have changed, could we please be provided that so I can pass that along to individuals? And I will gladly point them to the website so they can also research that themselves. So what I'm hearing from you is apparently the new homeless coordinator is going to take it in an entirely different direction that we have seen in the last 12 years.
She just asked if the new homelessness coordinator is going to take everything in a new direction.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, but I can ask and get a response for you.
And I do know that I was told that they had hired only one person as of our last meeting. And normally they have about 5 positions available. When do you think those positions will be filled?
Okay, I'll take that back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ma-
And I also, so the email address is gov.homelessness@hawaii.gov. I'll have to check on the number. I will get it for you and I'll email Chair and she can get it to you.
Mahalo, Philip, go ahead.
Okay, so just two of them. Can you please, Stacy, look at the Uluvehi lease rent? It increased by 50% for the renewals, causing a lot of the old time homeowners over there to have a very difficult time, both refinancing or actually even the younger kids being able to buy, because that used to be a affordable housing unit, yeah? And because the lease rent has increased, it's kind of making it unaffordable now. So, and then the other one is, can you give us an insight if I'm hearing the governor is going to hire our Representative Cedric Gates to a position, and we'd like to know ahead of time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mahalo. Okay, Austin, you have something for Governor's Rep?
Well, Stacey Lynn, thank you for coming down. Is Senator Miley also on board right now?
Yes, she is. So since we're done with Governor's
Okay,
Rep.
okay.
only-
Again, the SR 30, the implementation by Governor Green and Sylvia Luke looking into this, and encouraging as far as Senator Miley, if we can have that SR 30 to revolve and issue out all who is involved in written into the SR 30 to be also notified, please, formally. Okay, I want the engagement on this, and especially partners in care on this, engagement by them with the neighborhood boards, and all the neighborhood boards and such, etc. Thank
Next
you.
week meeting.
That's all.
Okay, mahalo. Okay, any last things for Governor's Rep? If not, I want to get to our Senator. Okay,
Okay.
thanks, Stacey. Okay, Senator.
Mahalo. Good evening, everybody. But I just want to go some highlights my handout by section. The first section on homelessness for Kahumana, their grant and aid, they got $200,000, and this is to create a kauhale on the vacant land next to their existing Ohana Ola o Kahumana. Waianae Comprehensive Elepaio Social Services also got $400,000 grants and aid, and they're looking at doing crisis stabilization beds, a Hawaiian Cultural Center, and food distribution warehouse on the land next to them. Also, the Ohana Zones bill got funded $15 million a year. The Kauhale bill got funded $48 million over the biennium. Under transportation, Pa'akea Road, happy to report that the resolutions passed, and DOT reported that they actually have identified a project number O-03-20, which is focusing on opening up the lock gates of Pa'akea Road to create a alternate route for daily use. Under education, you'll see a lot of CIP projects there, very exciting, that are in the final draft of the budget. And one of the highlights is that Governor recently released, notified us that $22 million is going to come to the Waianae Coast for free preschool at Kamaile Academy, Waianae L, and Nanakuli L. Hawaiian Affairs, DHHL, got a $40 million infusion for R&M. Under environment, Pokai Bay Jetty. Finally, all your West Side legislators worked together to get $5.75 million to finally redesign the jetty there to increase water circulation to repair it. Under agriculture, the Waianae pig farmers worked hard to lobby to get a slaughterhouse, and it's in the final draft of the budget, $4 million, and looking at putting it near the existing slaughterhouse in Kalailoa. It'll be a small animal slaughterhouse. And then finally, under health, a lot of victories for Waianae Comprehensive Health Center. Their grant and aid got approved for $1 million for the emergency room. Also $100,000 for their family medicine practice. And their House Bill 907, which is they got it extended as a pilot program until, I believe, 2025, that telehealth by telephone only means for behavioral health will be reimbursable and billable to insurance. So that was a big victory for all the rural clinics, with Waianae Comp being one of the lead organizers for that bill. So those are the highlights, and I'm open for your questions. And yes, Austin, SR 30, thank you so much. We had a great showing from the West Side for that resolution. Once it has been finalized, and then I believe it's the clerks that distribute it to all the people that are listed in that distribution list. And so hopefully it'll start a discussion about more evenly distributing those types of homes that provide support. Thank you.
Senator, we're going to jump into a couple of questions. I only see one hand right now. Johnny May, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Senator, did you hear me earlier about the Keiki, Waianae Keiki Spring Fest?
Yes.
Yeah, I attended it. So what's missing, I think, and would be good to have is a dental and eye examination booth.
Sure.
For maybe next year. Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's geared about education, but dental and eyes are also educational. Also, the teacher raise and the teacher housing. So does that, I don't agree with it. Does that mean the increase of student learning? Are they going to be held accountable?
Oh, yes. I mean, they already are. I mean, I think, and teachers
Who's tracking that they're accountable, that the students are really on their level of reading, on their level of math?
Well, I mean,
who's tracking that?
The whole world has struggled with the pandemic. I mean, the student achievement worldwide, dropped because of, what students having to suddenly shift to online learning. And so Hawaii is not alone in seeing, struggling with the pandemic and the after effects of that. But these raises that they got in the latest contract are so long overdue, and teachers have been so underpaid. And so I think it's definitely well deserved, and it should definitely help with retention of our teachers and recruitment of teachers as well, because there's a shortage of teachers, so they're working they're stretched thin. And so we are not, I think, doing our part by, giving them adequate compensation, that they're not stretched so thin and not so under-resourced.
Well, maybe need to look as far as enrollment in certain schools. Their major complaint is smaller class sizes. Maybe some schools needs to be closed and reassign the teachers. There's some position, even like a clergyman, right? They do it because they love it, not for the money. So like teachers, it's not about the money, it's about the passion of teaching the students. If they want money, then that's not the profession for them. It's not the profession. So, I just hope that the kids are gonna get better quality learning as well from the parents. It's a dual direction of educating the kids. So how about the EAs? Hey, they're low in pay. What about them? Still get low pay, They work in the classroom just as hard as the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Good feedback.
Okay, thank you. It is 9:20 right now. Thank you, Senator, and everybody else. I don't know, I totally skipped over Congresswoman Tokuda's, or I don't know if anybody was here. I don't see Kendra, and then I don't know about Representative Gates. But thank you, everyone who was here. We're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting right now at 9:19. We got to clean up over here, and we'll see you guys next month. Oh, next month is the end of the term for this board. So if anyone's able to come down about 6 o'clock, and then includes the board members, I'll be here then. Just kind of like a wrap up and just a little bit of a meet and greet before not even a meet and greet. It's Aloha Ahui Ho. At about 6 o'clock, right before we start the meeting. All right, everyone. Aloha Ahui Ho.